So if we go to the settings panel, which is here, so you can either change the sensitivity just on the front, which changes the whole Skoog sensitivity, but here is where you can change it separately per surface. Okay, so here we've got a color-coded panel for each one. Okay, and here you've got a sensitivity slider. So if I pull that down, then I really have to push a lot harder. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, why would you want to, change everything separately? And actually, it's really incredibly useful particularly when you work with people who are not necessarily just playing it, with two hands. So if I say I want to play with my armpit, this, which is or in my torso, this is quite good. I don't want it just going off all the time. Yeah? So if you're working with them, I'll be pulling down these two. So you can change it so you can actually get it so it's playable with that part of your body by using your body weight, adjusting the sensitivity. Or if you have a student who's used to using a chin controller, again, actually you usually probably want it to be a bit more sensitive. Let's push these up. But you don't want the top going off all the time. So now. So you can tweak it. You can tweak the models, and also it might often depend as well if you're presenting it in different ways. If you too sensitive for me, if you've got it tilted and you're working with someone, then as gravity begins to act on it, you might find that if it's tucked in like this, then you might want to. If you've got it turned up, then you starts playing. You might need to bring that down. So you're just working with intentional activation. So there's lots of different ways of tweaking it. Now, you can save off settings, which is sort of really very important because you don't want to have to be doing this every time, particularly if you're working with someone you've got it set up, just working just right for them. And that's just, there's a Save As button. You click that and give it a name, very simple. There we go. And put it somewhere sensible. I'm just going to put it on the desktop. And they're just small little text files. But what it does do is it remembers all of the settings for all of the different instruments. So you don't need a separate flute file or a separate trombone file or a separate these kind of things. Okay. Tweak how you're using it, tweak how you play, and then you usually end up having a James profile or Leanne's profile or Class 2B's profile or the Spring Sound project profile with some tweaks and some things in there. And you can always get quickly back to default by pressing the kind of clicking on the novice kind of skill setting. That jumps them back down here just to a kind of standard setting. So if you have tweaked things and you want to change them, you want to get back to kind of just flattening everything out. If you click back to novice, it'll sort that out. So another thing to talk about on this panel here is, so here's this embouchure control. So when I go to amateur, you see it turns itself on. And at the moment that's just twisting. And if I go to expert, it gives me a wider range. Okay. You can see how it's changing on that one. Now you can turn it on and off manually if you want. And there's also, for all of the models, there's a manual sort of timbre adjustment. So this you can adjust the breathiness of the flute. You can more or less breathy. Now for different instruments that pans out in different ways. So if we go to the marimba, we've got strike position and beta hardness. Now you can change the relationship with the way you're hitting it, and also by changing the beta, you can get different kind of timbral qualities as well. Okay. And again, if you adjust those settings and you get a sound that you like and that you're using and that you want, and you save it, it will remember the settings. Another important thing you'll notice, well, you may not notice, but these little triangles have popped up here. Yeah? So for percussive instruments, what they act as, they're thresholds. So it won't make a sound underneath that. Now, the reason for those there is to try and help in terms, because we've tried to make it as sensitive as possible where we can, and as sort of dynamically playable, so in this way where it's sensitive all over and you can kind of twist it and tweak it. That can lead to, sometimes you're getting cross activations, so if you are actually wanting to play clean notes, it can make it difficult if it's all kind of going off. So by adding in the thresholds, you can increase that pressure so that when you're playing it, you don't get the notes when you really want them. Okay? And the other knock-on from that is if you're working with people with very limited movement, you can drop the thresholds entirely, which makes it, again, gives you a little boost in terms of sensitivity. So if we, so now, these with very light.